Morning. Today is the 12th day of Adar, not like we said on the recording yesterday. Today is the 12th day of March. We're continuing with Korban Pesach in Derech Mitzvosecha, Daf Ein Zayin. So we started saying that. Hold on. We started saying, I don't know which line. I'll see in a second. We started saying that the klipa stands in each world with its face towards the inside, the pnimi, and its back to the makif. So now we know that what the makif and the pnimi are. So we said the pnimi means that it has bittul. That's the whole key, because everything descended into the lower worlds in order to gain bittul, in order to rise. So now the face of the klipa is towards the pnimi. So now he's going to explain like this. Let's see. Omnam klipot. So we're 10 lines from the bottom, at the end of the line. Omnam klipot. The line starts Ha'aliyah שבשבילה. אמנם הקליפות בסטרא אחא שאין בהם בחינת הביטול, הרי מובן שאי אפשר לקבל אחריות והשפע מבחינת היושר, שהוא בחינת התלבשות האורות בכלים, להיות השתלשלות עולמות אביה. So the klipa, because it doesn't have any bittul, it can't partake of the light of Hashem that comes through the yosher, through the line. Because there, the line, what we said it indicates, is the descent of the worlds. So since it's the descent of the worlds, and this descent was in order to have bittul, in order to rise again, the klipa can't take from that. It can't sustain itself from that. מאחר שהשפע העליונה זו היורדת להתלבש בכלים אינה אלא צורך עלייה, להיות ביטול היש לעין. Like we said, it's in order to have bittul. אם כן, אינה מתלבשת אלא בכלים שיש בהם בחינת ביטול. So, it can't enclose, that light of Hashem, the light of descent, can only enclose itself in something that has bittul. So again, what are we saying? We're saying a very novel idea, that descent is only for something that can have bittul and rise again. You don't send someone down if you can't rise back up.
But you need the bittul to rise.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
You don't. Hashem doesn't send someone on this mission to go down if they can't come back up. What's the point? You're gonna lose it. Okay? So only something that has bittul, that has a potential of having bittul, can descend. It's like you send someone scuba diving.
Wait,
you don't send them down.
Don't
they
down
do.
That way.
Well, they don't come so far down.
Okay.
The human being can come further down. That's the whole discussion of Moshe Rabbeinu with the Malachim. That you don't have as much a Yetzer Hara as us. So the Torah is not for you. The Torah is for someone who can descend further down. Now they need the Torah to come back up. Okay. So I'm sending someone down. I have to give them a float to bring them back up. That's the Torah. So the klipa, the impure husk, it doesn't have this quality. It can't have bittul. It doesn't know how to have bittul. So it can't go. It can't enclose itself within the vessels that have bittul. It's not shayach there. It can't go there. אינם מתלבקן. והן נשמות ומלאכים. ובגיע השפע לתוך הכלים, הנה הכלים מגבילים אותה, בלי תומשך להלה להתלבש בכלים בלתי ראויים. הם כלים הטמאים דקליפות, שאין בהם בחינת ביטול כנ"ל. So, when the light comes down, it can only come into those vessels that have the potential of bittul, and it can't come into the klipa. Because the klipa doesn't have potential bittul. So the whole light of descent, the whole or yashar, the yosher, that's coming down, that's descending, again, that's the human world. The natural world can only do so much because it doesn't have bittul. You can't find in the natural world a state in which something suddenly descends further than where it was. That's what we say about, for instance, animals, right? That I'm less than says David HaMelech, V'ani tolat velo ish. I'm a caterpillar and not a person. Why? He says, the caterpillar is always doing what Hashem told it to do. Why is it always doing what Hashem told it to do? Because it can't descend further, because it has no potential bittul. and has no way to rise again. So it can only be a caterpillar. I unfortunately have a potential bittul, so I can go down.
He said, fortunately,
fortunately, I have.
Yeah, okay, I thought my ears. Yeah,
I have fortunately.
I have bittul. I can go
bittul.
up.
I can go up, but that also means that I'll be part of the descent. That's the unfortunate part. The unfortunate part is that sometimes, in order to find the bittul, you have to go down. That's called yirida tzorech aliyah, which is very painful for the person that's going through it. The descent of the world is painful. It's not something that's a joy.
It's ubiquitous and for all human beings, correct?
For everybody who has bittul. A non-Jew doesn't have so much bittul, especially because he doesn't. Right, he has a little bit. But that's what we say then. Umazu k'shi yoredet lemata mikulam. It says that this nation, talks about the Jewish people, when they descend lower than anyone else. So, on the one hand, that's a terrible thing, because when you descend, there's a lot of descents.
But the potential for rising.
But the real descent is that even though I descended, no matter where I descended, I can still rise. Now, the klipa can't do that. It doesn't have that ability.
Can I ask you, the lower we fall, can that mean...
So you need more bittul to come back, right?
Yeah.
That's why we find the greatest souls in very low places.
Yes.
הם כלים הטמאים דקליפות שאין בהם בחינת ביטול כנ"ל, שאין רואים לקבל בתוכן את האור מאין סוף ברוך הוא, ולכן מבחינת האור מתלבש בחינת יושר היה נמנע השפע לחיצוני. So the reality is that the klipa would never be able to accompany down my descent. It couldn't come with me. There was no way that it could, because it doesn't know how to rise. It itself can never receive this light of yosher, this light of lines, for the descent, because it doesn't have an ability to rise again.
Explain again.
So I'd leave it behind.
In this respect, what are we talking about? Klipa in
so
general?
think about it first of all. Not as it's tuma. It is tuma.
Okay.
It is something not pure. But first of all, think about it like the peel of a fruit. The peel of the fruit has to remain with it as long as the fruit is not ready to sprout, to become a new tree or whatever. So the klipa has to accompany it. I need the klipa with me to protect me.
So we're coming down with that's our klipa.
So you could sort of say that when the fruit falls off the tree, it still has the klipa. But when it goes into the earth, it can't have the klipa already. There, the klipa can't accompany it, because if it does, then it won't be able to...
It won't regenerate.
Right. אכן, מה שיכולים לקבל חיות הוא מבחינת העיגולים דווקא, שהוא למעלה מהתלבשות בכלים וחופף עליהם. So what he's saying is, but still I need the klipa, as long as I'm still... Right. The descent is not... Even to be a fruit on the tree is a descent already, in our parable. So, we're in the last line, right? We just missed the last. So he says, so how does the klipa still accompany me? So it has to have a connection to my makif also. It has to have a connection to my circles. My circles is not the descent. The circles is all everywhere the same. That was the whole point. The makif is everywhere the same. It's not individuated or individualized as you wanted yesterday. Individuated is right. There is such a word.
That's what we call cycle.
What?
That's what we call cycle.
Right. So sometimes we call this a sova, but really the name is makif. The makif means that this is still unobserved. Everything is the same there. Like we said before, the neshama comes into the body. Everything is there. So that the klipa can receive from. Why? Because that doesn't descend. Because again, that was the whole premise. That igulim, they're not in descent. They're not in a state of descent. They're always the same. Again, the soul descending into the body. So what happens when you say the soul descends into the body? It becomes yosher, it becomes straight. When the soul is outside the body, it's in igulim. It's still in the state of everything is equally distributed. There's no differentiation between anything. So the klipa can only receive from the igulim. It can't receive from the makif. It can't receive from the pnimi, because it can't descend. That light won't dwell in it. Even if it tries to take it, it won't dwell in it. Because it's simply not the right type of vessel for it. The klipa is not the right type of vessel for that type of light. וחופף עליהם ביות שלעוצם רוממותו ועוצם גדולתו, אין יכול להיות נגבל בכלים. So the klipa actually receives from a higher light. The light of the descent, the yosher, is lower because it's individualized. It's already a different state. Again, it's like that the klipa in a certain sense cannot take directly from my emotions. That's the yosher, the way I am when the soul is inside my body already. It has to take from the way the soul is outside my body, from somewhere else. אפילו דקדושה, ושם אין מעשה התחתונים תופס מקום כל כך. By the infinite, everything that is the descent doesn't really mean anything. כמו שכתוב, אם צדקת מה תיתן לו, ורוב שערך מה תעשה לו. It says, as far as the infinite is concerned, even the good things that we do are meaningless. Why are they meaningless? Even the good things that we do, as far as the infinite, because when you compare a small act here to something infinite above, it's negligible. It doesn't take up space. It doesn't have weight. It doesn't carry any weight. I put a coin into the pushka. What does that compare to Hashem sustaining the entire world?
We're not talking about mitzvahs.
I'm talking even about mitzvahs. Mitzvahs have no meaning above. What do you mean? Of course they have meaning because Hashem wants them.
Yes, right.
But they're negligible. You can't see them.
You mean negligible in whose eyes, in what sense?
In the infinite's eyes,
the
one coin, the one number is negligible. You can't see it inside the infinite.
He sees everything.
Of course, but that's exactly why it's negligible.
It's negligible from our point of view.
Right, of course.
Not from his.
From his also. It's also from the infinite, the way the infinite looks at
The
it.
Rambam says if you build the world exactly balanced here and here and here,
That's from the point of view of that immediately you understand is a statement from the Yosher.
Do you hear my
That's a statement from the light that descends from the light of the straight.
confusion?
Yeah, I understand because I'm telling you it doesn't mean anything,
But okay.
and you can't hear that.
Okay.
You said it, but sometimes you have to hear stuff that's a little difficult to hear. But it goes both ways, he says. In tzadakta matiten lo. If you've done tzedek, good, what are you giving him? But it also says, but if you've also done many terrible things, what can you do to him? Do you think it affects him? Doesn't affect him. So what? He's the same. That's the igul. That's the igulim. We say the same thing. We say as much as maybe, God forbid, I've sinned and I've done many things, my soul is still intact. Where is it intact? In the makif. The chaya yechida stays the same. The part that goes into the body, that needs to go through nahar dinud. It needs to be cleansed from being in this world.
Yes.
But that part doesn't need anything. It's fine. Yeah. So we see the same thing inside ourselves. That there's a part of me that's always cleansed. It's always pure. It's never affected by what goes on. That's the key of mental health also. No matter how far you've descended, there's a part of you that's still above water, that's never descended with you.
You know, a psychiatrist's brother suffered from, as I mentioned, the drug-induced psychosis, and it was really out. I had him in Akko. He said he still has free will.
No, of course. Still has free will. Okay.
I'll never forget that.
So we'll end here and
Psychiatrist,
continue
well
tomorrow.
trained.